Alright. Hello and welcome to Remembrance of Atop the Fourth Wall Live! If this is your first time seeing Atop the Fourth Wall in live or recorded form, don't panic. Wait until we actually start the review, and then you can panic. As you can see, I am reading from a script, which means I apologize in advance if I stutter, slur my words, lose my place, or generally make an ass of myself in front of you. Not that you aren't all used to me making an ass of myself on a regular basis by now. And I know people can get a little excited during these shows and want to throw out their own jokes, but if you feel inclined to do so, remember, I am recording this. So if you're not funny, you're being not funny in front of thousands of people. Well, it's Magfest yet again. Woo! You see, if you had used up all your cheering earlier, well, you wouldn't have had any enthusiasm for that. Which means it's time once more for something video game related. But if I can, I always try to find something to review for these live shows that's at least somewhat tangentially related to superhero comics, since that's my specialty. As such, it is time for us once again to journey into Blip Magazine!
The revenue sucks.
Wow, who knew Blip could see into the future and get a photo of the angry video game nerd Spiderman review? No wonder this magazine didn't last very long. They were shut down before they caused a time paradox. But yes, we see a live-action Spider-Man playing Spider-Man for the Atari 2600. And we see that his head is apparently attached right dead center to a spider web. Or perhaps he's sending out some kind of mental spider web in all directions. Actually, you know what's the weirdest thing about this costume to me? I keep forgetting that years and years ago, the eyes on Spidey's mask were tiny. Yep. These days in comics, they cover like half his head. Oh, we got water now. Yay!
Way to go, Meg Minion!
I'll alternate between the Coke and the water now. One dissolves my throat, the other heals.
Don't cross the streams!
I'll do what I want, you're not the boss of me! These days in comics, they cover like half of his head. On an actual suit, it looks like he's squinting at the screen. Yep. Which I imagine the person inside the suit is doing anyway while playing the game.
Don't sit too close to the TV, kids.
The comic for today was inspired by a publicity stunt Blip Magazine did with Stan Lee and Parker Brothers to promote the game. They got a bunch of kids, Stan Lee, Spidey, and the Green Goblin to all play the game and have a good time. And I must say, these costumes look pretty damn impressive. I mean, that Stan Lee costume looks just like the real thing. Also, this image of Spider-Man diving into the pool. When the party was over, Spider-Man discovered the perfect ending for a terrific day. So, was Aquaman under the suit? I'm confused. Our story, Endgame, begins with Spidey fighting the Green Goblin in front of a giant cardboard cutout of a clown. Sometimes the separation between fantasy and reality is but a thin, flimsy veil. Well, in that case, okay, I'm fantasizing that I am now in charge of DC Comics. Is it working? Whatever, I'd still probably complain all the time. Such is the case here at the annual Toy Manufacturers Trade Expo in Madison Square Garden. Ah yes, giant cardboard clown, my favorite childhood toy. In any event, this is not the actual opening of the story. This is just your standard preview panel of what happens later in the story. We truly open hours earlier as the Green Goblin is flying through the air. Ha! The fools! Thought they could hold me! Not even the thickest prison walls can keep me from my goal. I will be the mastermind of a giant plot involving the Jackal, clones of Spider-Man, a guy named Judas Traveler... wait, that actually sounds pretty stupid. The Goblin overhears someone yelling Spider-Man's name and assumes that he's nearby. Wait, this is not Spider-Man! Hey, come on, man. What's your problem with Miles Morales? A bunch of you didn't laugh, you see, because that's the Ultimate Universe of Spider-Man, and it's a joke about how to read a book, people! Anyway, what's actually happening is that two kids are playing the Atari 2600 Spider-Man game.
Poor Seth.
So within the Marvel Universe, there is an actual Spider-Man game for the Atari 2600. Is Spidey making any money off of this? Wait, this is Atari. Of course he isn't. Also, the Green Goblin within the game is colored blue and red according to this panel. Man, you really did have to use your imagination back then, didn't you? Also, the Goblin's glider is rocket-powered. How the hell is it that the kids can't hear the Goblin right outside their open window? Spider-Man, defeat me? Who has created this outrage? That's it, I'm throwing his girlfriend off a bridge.
Oh, shit! You went there!
Oh, snap, indeed. I'm awful.
Darkest joke! Darkest joke!
Darkest sketch! Darkest sketch! Darkest sketch! Darkest sketch!
Darkest sketch! Okay,
I'd say he should just sue for his use of his likeness, but I'm sure Parker Brothers could get away with it with the aforementioned palette swap. But yeah, pissed off, he throws a pumpkin bomb at the kid's TV and blows it up. Weakest pumpkin bomb ever, by the way, since it just smashes the TV and there's not even any shrapnel or large explosion. Or did the 2600 absorb the explosion? Man, and Nintendo consoles are said to be indestructible. Whoever has dared such an affront shall now pay the price. They and the accursed Spider-Man. Ha 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 ha! I'm going to go create an inferior version of Pac-Man for this thing. Ha ha ha! I'm just really ripping on the Atari today, aren't I?
Oh, people saw the AVGN movie.
Oh, no.
So the Green Goblin flies to Parker Brothers headquarters. Yes, seriously.
Oh, dear.
It took me a while to learn the source of this insult. Why? Did Parker Brothers not put their name on the game's box? And they will rue ever having put their name on such a project. Strange, you'd think Norman Osborn would like the guys who made Monopoly. So the Green Goblin just flies in here on his glider. I love this image. Look at it. A supervillain on a giant smoke-expelling glider just casually floating into a game company. I think all that smoke would set off the fire alarms in this place, too. Where is the president of your firm? I wish to talk to him about being added to the characters in Clue. The secretary asks if she can help him. He just storms past her into the president's office, but no one's there. What? Yeah, I know, he's extending the word what, but why the hell would you spell it like that? There's no one here. He's at a convention, sir.
Oh, no!
This is how Doug Walker feels every time all of us but him go to Magfest.
Come on, Doug!
Burn.
Almost everyone is there. It's the biggest trade show of the season at the Garden. Everyone overcharges and overhypes it, and it stopped being about toys years ago while still maintaining the name for branding purposes. Even Spider-Man is there helping to promote our new video game. This poor woman doesn't understand the concept of cosplayers. Instead of trashing the place, the Goblin decides to head over there. What could be more fitting and perfect? Spider-Man is about to discover that challenging the Green Goblin is no game at all! Or at least it's one with stupid Day 1 DLC.
Oh! You're on fire tonight.
Am I offending people who like the Day 1 DLC?
Because we're victims.
At the expo, Spider-Man is indeed there, and along with the giant cardboard clown, there is also a giant cardboard Spider-Man. You think Peter gets to keep that afterwards? The Goblin, a criminal of course, gets no remuneration for the game. Thanks, Spidey, but you do realize criminals have rights too, you know. As for me, I learned a long time ago you can't cash checks with a mask on. I was mistaken for a bank robber many times. So my royalties will go to the Children's Fund for... Well, I give him credit for putting the money to charity, but why couldn't he have requested the money in cash then? What is his legal status in this regard? I don't even get why the story needed to be like this. Why couldn't Peter Parker just be there covering it as a photographer? Green Goblin would have still come in order to kill the Parker brothers, people. Wait. I just realized why they didn't have him in civilian form. Peter Parker brothers. Although it would make for a fun joke of Peter wishing he was a part of that family and not the one that continually has people dying within it.
Damn!
Well, that's dark.
Oh yeah, and Green Goblin does indeed show up and start blowing stuff up. Look at that, it seems to hit right in the middle of a crowd of people. J. Jonah Jameson is going to start claiming that Spider-Man's game encourages children to violent tendencies. Spidey swings up to deal with the Goblin, but the Parker Brothers people are apparently kind of stupid. Say, this is a great idea for a publicity stunt. Why wasn't it mentioned at the meeting yesterday? Well, they were going to explain it to you, but someone kept interrupting, trying to tell you about the idea of some stupid thing called a bop it. Nobody thinks it'll sell. I wish this were a stunt, but my spider sense is never wrong. You're the real Green Goblin. Yeah, your spider sense never screws up in some capacity. How is Venom these days, anyway? Come to think of it, to this day, I still remain confused about how the spider sense actually works. So, does the spider sense go off for innocuous stuff, like when he's going to get a paper cut, or is it only life-threatening circumstances? And logically, considering how much in danger he actually is swinging around the city so high up, shouldn't his spider sense be going off every time he does that? But whatever, he confirms that this is the real deal, no doubt causing widespread panic and trampling of the crowd. Last, besides momentarily blinding me, this sparkle dust of gobbies seems to fog up my spider senses. But I thought your spider sense was never wrong! Also, sparkle dust? Do you mean he threw glitter at you?
Sparkle dust.
See Peter Pan?
Yeah, sparkle.
So apparently...
Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah, sparkle. I am a meme machine. So apparently nobody heard it when Spidey loudly yelled out that this is the real Green Goblin. Wow, this is great! Those folks at Parker Brothers have really outdone themselves this year. It's incredibly realistic. Wonder who they got to play the Goblin. Oh, who cares? It's not like you'll have a big role in the second film. Some unemployed stuntman. Spidey probably rigged the whole thing. Does that actually happen at expos like this? Huge, elaborate, dangerous stunts that could get people killed and property damage through stuntmen and unexpected elements with civilians around? Or does this guy think it's an early test for Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark? Spidey, realizing that people don't know it's real, decides he has to take out the Goblin before anyone gets hurt. Also, the cutouts are not in fact cardboard, but actually made of very springy wood, since Spidey is able to bend and bounce off of them like a trampoline. Atari, everything is wood! Haha! See how useless your webs are in such an enclosed space! Really? Because it seems like a really big and high-roof convention center. It's not that enclosed. Plus, why isn't he just shooting webs at you in the face or something? Shall we end this game? Ha ha ha! That's what I like about you, Gobby. You laugh at your own jokes, even when they aren't funny. Gotta agree on that point. It's hard to even call end this game a joke, since it's not really specific to the video game situation. He should have said something like, "You're out of continues," or "Congratulations, Spider-Man, you have completed a great life. Now go and rest our victims."
I forget what game.
That's why I think you'll appreciate my new game, especially when you see the poetry in it. It's called Amazing Spider-Man versus the Kingpin. It ends with my girlfriend being slowly lowered into acid while the Kingpin punches me for some reason, and for some reason I try to hit her instead of hit him instead of rescue her. The symbolism is just poetic. But no, he's actually pulling back on the big cutout of himself with his webs, and it swings out and hits the Green Goblin right in the glider. Not sure how the hell that worked when the Goblin was looking right at it in the previous panel and could have flown out of the way. Oh, by the way, this is the punchline! That line doesn't work, Spidey, since clearly it headbutted the Green Goblin, not punched him. And so the Green Goblin is taken into custody, the crowd suddenly realizing this wasn't a publicity stunt. Whoops. I think I'll leave them with that comforting thought and exit quietly. With my luck, the garden will want to sue me for damages. What damages? Aside from the one bomb, that wasn't very strong, that the Goblin threw when he arrived, this actually lacked any collateral damage in the fight. That's pretty impressive. Man of Steel. And so our comic ends with the Green Goblin being taken to prison, where the guards reveal that a whole new recreation center has been installed, including a big arcade with the Spider-Man game.
Well, considering how bad the Atari game is.
Oh, don't feel bad, Green Goblin. I hear that the E.T. game they put in will calm you down. Oh, shut up. My Spidey is winning.
How?
Wouldn't criminals be interested in making Spidey die and lose? Whatever. Anyway, this comic is actually okay, especially for something only 6 pages long. The action is pretty good, thanks to pencils from John Romita, and while the plot doesn't make a lot of sense, it's grounded enough that it's rather fun, plus you get the image of the Green Goblin being pissed off about his public image in a friggin' Atari 2600 game. That's all I got for now, so thank you, everybody. This is Monday's episode, Comic Book Quickies number 4. The Top the Fourth Wall of the movie has only 1 week left for funding. Click the link down below so we can put the movie online for free. There's no link! Hello! Top the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Today it's time for another edition of Comic Book Quickies! In case you're new around here, Comic Book Quickies is where I look at material that's too short or outside my realm of expertise for a normal review, but it's still something I want to spotlight. Usually this takes the form of advertisements for junk food with a cream filling of some variety, or supervillains stealing cakes. That's terrible. Let's dig into some quick comic book related material and see where the madness takes us. Let's hear it, Magfest!
Ow.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Frosty, you're not the smartest. Liefeld, you're not an artist. Anyone who's got a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man. Punch, wears a birdie hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara. Coins, robots, Amazons, and trucks. Linkara. This comic sucks. Linkara.
God, no.
Naturally, let's start things off with our favorite subject in the world, Hostess Fruit Pie. Spider-Man meets the Home Wrecker, a.k.a. Joe Quesada. A construction worker. Yeah.
The Home Wrecker is on the ball again. If I don't do something fast, I'll be in no shape for that architecture class tomorrow. Screw the building and the people inside. I'm more concerned about my schooling on a subject I won't even major in. I love to see that big black ball take its toll.
Whoa!
I'm pretty sure the statement can also be found in Cards Against Humanity. Just a construction worker. Spidey has this amazing rogues gallery, so naturally your first instinct for a villain to use was a regular guy wearing a shirt that matched his skin tone. Or perhaps he's actually naked, and this is his way of honoring Miley Cyrus. If they were going for a construction theme, why not just use Killdozer? It's technically in the Marvel Universe too. Anyway, the Home Wrecker swings his big black ball at another wall, almost hitting Spidey. I'm just wondering how this guy got his crane all the way here without being stopped along the way. Cranes are not exactly known for being all that speedy.
I've got to get Home Wrecker's hands off these controls.
These controls? What are you talking about? You're not holding any controller. Or do you have a controller in your pants that Home Wrecker is after? That is weird, sir. I just keep a Game Boy in my pants.
Catch these apple and cherry Hostess fruit pies.
Oh boy.
He had fruit pies in his pants. Makes sense. Actually, here's another question. Check out the angle on the throw. His arm swings in an arc from up high, down, and up again from side to side, but the fruit pies arc from down to up away from him. See, Spidey, this is why you should drop the architecture classes and go into sports.
Only a science major can throw a curveball like that.
Actually, this plan works, and the Home Wrecker now is holding the fruit pies, keeping his hands off the controls. And so it ends with the Home Wrecker covered in tires for maximum comedic effect, except for his hands, since Spidey knows that this guy needs to feed his addiction to the fruit pies now. Also, I just realized, why couldn't you use your webbing on him?
Another bad guy all
Isn't that
wrapped
webbing?
up. Now to get
That's
home
rope.
to do my homework. Aunt May has been really worried about me lately. She looked absolutely terrified when I mentioned I was going to get a summer job at a resort in the Hamptons. And now, excerpts from the Super Dictionary.
That guy with the hat.
Sill. Atom is sitting on the sill. He is sitting on the piece of wood below the window. The window sills in this house were dirty. So Atom moved. And let's have ourselves another ad comic, but this one's not about fruit pies.
The Saga of Johnny West. None can sit on a fence for hours at a time like Johnny West. Johnny West, wearing his Acme boots, keeps an eye out for kids in trouble. Unfortunately, he's looking at an empty field.
The next day, he's walking by a school and spots a kid bullying another. Scram, kid, I'm borrowing your horse.
Well, at least that implies that he intends to return it. Looks like a job for Johnny West. It's a shame that I glued my hands to my hips. So I'm guessing this is Old West times since the kid needs to ride a horse to school. Man, that bully has a giant head. And he apparently makes tracks quickly when he spots Johnny West approaching.
Gee, Johnny West, I wish I could stand up to trouble like you do. And by stand up to trouble, I mean you standing there and not doing anything.
However, Johnny West has the answer. You can by standing proud in Acme boots. They have a certificate of authenticity from Wile E. Coyote.
Super genius.
The presence of
I didn't
these
even hear
boots
it.
somehow frightens off the bully. I presume anyway, since all we see is him walking away. So for all we know, he just didn't feel like bullying him right now. Or maybe he thinks Johnny West has his back and doesn't want to invoke his anger.
Wow, how did you scare that big creep off? Thanks, Johnny West.
Johnny West would go on to bring down many notorious outlaws by giving them mismatched loafers. So Johnny West walks off into the sunset. Acme wins again. I made sure to grab 30 bucks from that kid while he was putting on the boots.
And now, excerpts from the
Super Dictionary. That guy with that.
Imagine.
Imagine a world.
Lois Lane liked to imagine her wedding. She liked to make a picture of her wedding in her mind. She imagined that she married Superman.
Oh boy.
Of Trouble, an attempt at a modern romance comic. As was pointed out by many people, if you want that, just look to manga. But the thing is that American romance comics actually have a very long history behind them. For whatever reason, they were popular, and if you've checked out my second DVD, you'll know I've reviewed one from the 50s. You'll be equally confused how the hell anything so utterly boring and nonsensical could be popular. But hey, there's room in the comics world for all genres, so let's try to meet things halfway in the 70s, shall we? What we have here is one of my random purchases for potential review. DC Comics' 100-page super spectacular of love stories. Ironically, DC has said fairly recently that they don't want any of their heroes in happy relationships, because they somehow sacrifice that by putting on a mask. Just like how any law enforcement agent is not allowed to ever get married and be happy. Well, obviously I can't review every story of this for a Quickies episode, but hey, most of these are relatively short, so let's take a look at the first story. How do I know when I'm really in love? Well, if any of you are fans of the Cinema Snob videos, you know that the answer to that involves asking Ted Danson.
Oh, wow, it's him. It's Ed. He's everything I've ever wanted in a guy. Except he doesn't have a mechanical arm, but that's perfect. My heart skipped a beat whenever Bill came near. I practically fell apart when Roger touched me. I could barely sleep just thinking about Ed. And when Teddy smiled at me, I felt glad all over. Yes, I had all the symptoms of being in love.
Well, I'm no doctor, but that actually sounds more like the symptoms of an anxiety disorder.
Well, the fatal blow of Cupid's arrow was always off course.
Fatal blow? You wanted Cupid to murder you? This is Mia, whose name I only learned on the 4th page, and she's not certain why she's having so much trouble with her relationships. She kisses that Ed guy, but...
That kiss meant nothing. It happened again. What's the matter with me? Why can't I fall in love? Why? Well, I could be asexual, but that wouldn't conform to the standards of this era, so that can't be it. Mia talks to her friend Amy about this, trying to figure out why she's having so much trouble falling in love. Amy, not being a crazy person obsessed with finding romance, suggests that she's too hung up on this, that she's more in love with the idea of being in love rather than in any actual person. Just because Cinderella found her Prince Charming doesn't mean that Prince Charming is the guy for every girl.
Especially when Prince Charming is hitting on the wives of bakers instead. Dating to her type, which is fair enough. You're attracted to what you're attracted to. But Amy says her problem is she can't acknowledge that love just happens and it can't be assumed just because they meet certain qualifications. And thus we begin recounting her romances in flashback. First up is Mark, a racing car driver. Man, I really got into racing because I thought I'd dig the speeds. Now it's my whole thing. Why do I have a feeling that race car driver is your entire character description? Naturally, that fell apart because, he was too hung up on cars. You gotta keep these babies in perfect tune-up. Don't worry, sugar, I'll be done in a sec.
Oh, I can't stand him anymore. He's been tuning the same part of that engine for 9 hours.
Next up was Roger, a tennis player.
That's the game, Mia. I guess we're just lucky for each other.
We were just made for each other. As you can tell, we just had so many interesting things to say to each other.
Unfortunately, it turns out the guy has a bit of an ego problem.
Oh no, he's doing it again. He's staring at his reflection.
Oh my God, I think my reflection moved without me moving.
The relationship fell apart, and Mia is a bit jealous of Amy's romance with her own boyfriend. As she goes off on her own, she runs into a guy and knocks down all his research papers.
I've been doing research all day, and you go and mess up all my papers. How am I ever going to get this darn stuff in order? I definitively figured out how all the Final Fantasy games actually made sense in a single universe, and now it's all ruined! He soon apologizes for acting like a dick, even offering to buy her a soda. He's everything I can't stand in a guy. He's short and dumpy and funny looking. But I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want to hurt the feelings of the guy who was rude to me. He's nice, funny. I like him. He's not my type, but wow, I like him.
Settling the comic. One you love, honey, love the one you're with.
Love would be such a simple thing if we could fall in love with the people in our dreams. But love isn't that simple. And we never know when that fabled arrow will take its aim and strike.
And I took an arrow in the knee.
God damn it, Lois!
He's your type, and if he's not your type, well, you can change him.
Let's end this episode with one final Hostess comic. Coincidentally, this one also features Spider-Man, but also some cowboy action again. This is Spiderman in the Rescue. Now, this may seem like an overly simple title, but just remember, these fruit pie comics brought us the giant flea market eating flea. It's entirely possible that nobody will be rescued at all. Spidey swings down and kicks a guy, a criminal who is helping another guy kidnap a child. Saturday night, and I'm waltzing around with two guys. I can't be living. I don't know, man. I know some people who would say you're taking it easy with that. Tosses the kid over to Spidey, and for some reason, the kid is dressed up like a cowboy.
I want to go home right now.
That wall crawler will have to take care of the kid. Let's get out of here, fast. I love how this random criminal tossed the kid so powerfully that he knocked Spidey on his ass with him. Well, Spidey has to distract the kid while he chases the criminals. Here, kid, have some cowboy boots. Spidey is carrying around something far more logical. Twinkies.
Golden sponge cake. Cream filling. Delicious.
After this kidnapping attempt, the kid is going to be in therapy for years. He'll never be able to look at a confectionery again. And naturally, he couldn't just tell the kid, stay here. No, the treat was necessary. But yeah, he webs up the car and swings the kid off to safety. Okay, cowboy, we're on our way home. Now I'm kidnapping you, kid. New child. So, what have we learned today? That cowboy boots and Hostess products can intimidate criminals, but you'll only find your true love if you imagine dirty windowsills. Or something like that. I don't know. Next week, PSA hell.
PSA! Lights back up again.
Shutting down.
No!
Okay, there we go. Thank you. We're not quite done yet, because like I said, we still got to film our thing for my little video. And we have about 5 minutes left of the regular panel. But two things to note. First of all, after this, I will be going around the corner or so to sign autographs and sell things.
Yay!
So, yeah. I'm sorry we didn't have a lot of time for Q&A this time around, but we wanted to make sure everything stays on schedule. Also, I want you to attend the pub quiz tonight at midnight, being run by Dodger. Speaking of Dodger, okay, here's the deal that's going to be happening here. Nash, you ready? Okay, we're going to get some shots of you all. I need you all to